welcome in. We got good news and bad news as we kick things off on the Maize and Blue Reviews. Good afternoon, Michigan football. Part of the good news, Jerry Diorio, the former Wolverine, is with us. Part of the bad news, it's the bye week. No Michigan game tomorrow. So, Jerry, we're going to have to deal with that. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Danny. Looking forward to the show.
Yeah, so am I. We got lots to talk about. And, it's a lot of things going on in college football and with Michigan. People know that. We do have the bye week and how Michigan will deal with it. I'll ask Jerry some probing questions about what Jim Harbaugh might do with his team during this, off week, bye week, and what he would do as a former coach with this number 2 team in the country. Coach Jerry also has some film from last week's Michigan State game, and he'll put it up on the screen, and he'll diagram it, and he'll have some X's, and he'll have some O's, and we'll go over that, and that's fun, and that's entertaining. But Jerry, we'll start with the NCAA and Michigan. The NCAA reportedly in Ann Arbor, they want to talk with the coaches. Yesterday, they didn't have the chance to talk with the coaches. They were out recruiting. They didn't have a chance to talk with some others. This is a story that has changed every day since last Thursday when, the allegations came out. So, we definitely have a lot to talk about. So, where do you start when it comes down to this situation with the NCAA and Michigan and the advanced scout sign stuff?
Well, I got a number of different takes on this, Denny. First off, though, I want to read this little passage. I think is pertinent. At least it's gives it, and I think it brings some perspective to what's going on. At least I think it brings perspective. And I'll tell you the title and the author in a minute. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. The man in the arena, Teddy Roosevelt. I think this is pertinent to the situation because at the end of the day, championships are won on the field. Like I mentioned last week, my coaches used to always tell us they can take money away from you. You could lose your family. You could lose everything. The one thing they can't take away from you is championships. And I'm going to stay with that, meaning let's play it out on the field and see who the best team is. All this other drama, this is drama versus perspective. At the end of the day, in my opinion, the allegations are very, very short of some of the other things that are going on in college sports. Follow the money. NCAA and Big Ten could lose substantially. First of all, in my humble opinion, being a history teacher, a social studies teacher, I got to believe that there's a due process involved in all this. And I do believe that the NCAA, like we talked about earlier, Denny, the NCAA has a 90-day policy where they have to give us an opportunity to respond. They have to hand over all their evidence, right? They got to allow the defense to create and address the allegations. This could be years in the making for the NCAA. I don't think the NCAA is going to do anything. I don't think they have the power to do anything at this point in time. And at the end of the day, there could be possible suits the other way if they rush into something they don't know what they're really doing.
Yeah, I think you're right with the NCAA. It would be unprecedented. It would be unprecedented if the Big Ten got involved as well. So, to me, there's a lot going on, and I'm like everyone else. I'm reading the stories. I'm looking at the allegations. I'm seeing what everybody has to say about it. But, the two main components are, to me, is the one that you're talking about almost directly here. Can Michigan play the rest of the season? I think so, and I know there's a lot of people that are vocal the other way, and it happens when it's not your team and it's somebody else's team. People are always like, "Get him out of here, shut him down," So, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen for the NCAA. I don't think the Big Ten is going to jump in either with one of their blue bloods in the conference, and without having all of the information there and step in. And this week, anytime, Purdue, Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State week come in and say, nope, Michigan is not going to be eligible for, the Big Ten championship game. That would be a big shocker. So I think this season, Michigan is going to be able to play this year out. And then, to me, the next focus is the most important thing. Michigan can survive. They're not bigger than any one person or anything, but the most important thing in college football is the coach, is your leader. And Jim Harbaugh being able to stay on as the head coach at Michigan, whether he wants to, whether he can, all of those kind of things in the offseason. Those are the two things that I would say that would be the focus to me. Playing this season, very important, being able to keep Harbaugh. And I think they can weather the other things. And I don't, all of the other, type penalties. People are all over the place saying it could be this, it could be that. The real thing that would affect them is Michigan would be suspending Harbaugh again. Like, that could ruffle his feathers enough, or he might throw up his hands. And if he could leave, might. I mean, there is that. So you hope that there's not any more suspension when it comes down to Harbaugh, and you would hope that there wouldn't be. And these, it seems like they would be the harshest things that would happen, and not something that I'm predicting, where they would levy some kind of postseason ban after this year. You wouldn't want to see that. I think they can weather any of the other stuff with how the landscape of college football is now, with name, image, and likeness and everything else. If it was scholarships, it was visits, they can handle all of that. So, I think Michigan, coming out on the other end of this, long off season and being able to deal with this, if they are able to keep their coach and play this year, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, well, you hit you said something, Denny, that I think you and I both agree on. The NCAA has really no power in this one at this point in time. At this point in time, they are not going to be able to affect the season at this point in time, in my opinion.
Right. I don't think
the only
so.
one that really can is the Big Ten commissioner. And he's a TV guy, and he understands that he is gambling huge if he does go after Michigan. Michigan probably holds 40 to 60% of the TV audience that the Big Ten currently has. I mean, you're talking about tremendous revenue that the Big Ten could possibly lose. What if Michigan started to say, hey, maybe we should look to go to another conference, or maybe we should create another conference? These are all possibilities that could come out of this decision. This is a crazy situation that I think the NCAA and Big Ten should think about washing their hands with, because they know everybody does it, and they know there's a potentially tremendous amount of money that could be lost here for at least the Big Ten. And I'm serious. I'm an alumni. Look what has the Big Ten done? 1973. What did they do? 50-year anniversary. I was at a practice this summer, Denny, and I remember sitting with all the 1973 alumni from the University of Michigan. That ruling that day was great for college football because it opened up bowl games for the Big Ten and all these other things. But those men will never forget and were punished for something they had nothing to do with. Michigan was the rightful heir to that Rose Bowl, and they gave it to Ohio State because of an injury. Number one, we were the rightful heir to that Rose Bowl. Number one. Number two, 2016. How many Ohio State referees were on the field when what's his name was stopped short of a first down that would have given us a Big Ten championship? We got Cheeseburger Gate. The dumbest thing I ever heard. Cheeseburger Gate during COVID. We don't even know what's going on during COVID. Nobody knows what's going on during COVID. Jim Harbaugh buys a freaking cheeseburger for a kid, and the next thing you know, he's serving a 3-game suspension. That's bull. That's bull. Those are some of the things I'm saying. If the Big Ten, is it the Big Ten conference or is it the Ohio State conference? What is it? We need to start flexing our muscle a little bit at the University of Michigan and telling people you're not going to push us around like this anymore. This has been ongoing, and it's about ready to stop because we know the NCAA is going to be pretty much irrelevant here in a few years.
Yeah, in '73, it'd have been interesting to see what would have happened if Dennis Franklin didn't get hurt, because Michigan during the game had more yardage, more first downs, and if you were just looking at it in the tie, you could easily make the case for Michigan. But it's also about what comes down to. There was some politics involved. Bert Smith up at Michigan State, hey, big surprise. Michigan State hates, Michigan, and, they voted against them. So Michigan should always remember that when it comes down. Man, it's a rivalry, and you have to count on teams. And that's why when we fast forward to now, when people are like, who turned Michigan in, who's this investigative firm and all these, and say, oh, it would never be Ohio State. I've heard some people say, oh, there's no way. No, there's a lot of ways. In fact, that would be the number one, just, guessing. If I had to say, hey, if somebody asked me, who would you think would have the motivation to do this? Number one would say Ohio State. Number two would be Michigan State. Number three would be any other team in the Big Ten East. That would be from Rutgers to Penn State. I mean, those would be the ones. I don't know if there'd be a national team, but I would think it'd be one of those teams that I just mentioned. I don't really agree with what you have to say about 2016 and those refs on the field, or what happened during the violations during COVID. I do think that Harbaugh was his own man that way, and I also think that he didn't do himself any favors by elevating the violation to a violation one. So I don't think that's helping him right now. So you could make the case that some of this is self-inflicted, but he's got to be his own self. And, for me, you want Harbaugh, like I just mentioned, like if you're a Michigan fan, you need Jim Harbaugh if you want to compete for Big Ten championships, if you want to compete realistically for national championship. This is exactly the kind of coach that you need. And so you are going to run into some situations because Harbaugh is going to be going through the rule book. Harbaugh is going to look for any advantage in the gray area. And hey, sometimes it might go over that line. I'm all right with that. Now, I don't know, other people like Michigan would never, whatever, how that works. I think, to me, that knowing the landscape of college football, Jerry, since I've watched it, you're talking about other teams cheating and, buying players and now promising money. If you're not in there doing everything you can, looking around every corner and trying to push the envelope, then you're not going to be winning Big Ten championships. You're not going to be competing for national championships. So actually, I'm all right with Michigan going over there and, and looking in some of these areas and pushing the envelope.
Well, here's the thing. I think Ward Manuel, in my opinion, should start right now, and the president, and get Jim Harbaugh signed to a new contract. These allegations are ridiculous. They're silly. When you hear some of the comments I've heard this week, Jeff Saturday, that was Saturday who made the comment that everybody is out there scouting and it's one on the field. Deion Sanders, what did he say? You could have my playbook. You can have my offensive strategy. You can have it all.
No problem with that, Jerry. I heard Deion say that. It's coming. Stop it. And Deion's great and everything, but why do coaches go through all the trouble then to try to disguise what they're doing then? Why don't they just put a sign up saying, here comes the run? Because it is an advantage. So, despite what Saturday, it's won Super Bowls and Deion, who might be the greatest athlete ever, those guys can say whatever they want, but why is Michigan out there then doing it? Why
okay, Denny, are you going to sit there and tell me that all these paperworks and all this trail is leading to Michigan spanking Ohio State in Columbus, in Ann Arbor, by more than two touchdowns the last 2 years? Are you going to tell me that these allegations are responsible for Penn State getting waxed by Michigan the last 2 years? Are you going to tell me that all these Big Ten teams that have been getting waxed all year long, this is the reason why they've been getting waxed? Because Michigan knows exactly what they're doing? That's bull. There's no freaking way. I talked to who was it? John Arbesnik, and he was talking to, Jerry Glanville. And Jerry Glanville said, you got about 3 to 5 seconds to make a decision on the field, what you're doing. That's how fast things are working on the field. You could go scout all you want. The bottom line is, what if they change their signals? Then you're screwed. Is that why we lost all those other years?
Well, Jerry, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Like, this is the only reason Michigan's a bunch of big fat cheaters. The only reason that they won since 21. I'm not saying that, but I am asking everyone who gets in there, so why would they do it if there's no advantage? Why would they do
first
that?
of all, we don't know if they did.
The other part about, changing the signals, what if the part of the decoding the signals is you figure out what their change is. You figure out what their dummy signals are. You figure out how they're going about and changing the signals every game. You could be on top of it. It could be a benefit. It's not that I don't care what anybody says. I care about what people who played the game, coaches, and people that have to actually go through the getting the signals and everything else. So those are all things that I want to hear from. But I'm just looking at it myself. Why do teams do it? Well, why would they do it then? And, the part about just change the signals, there could be. I mean, there's a world where you could figure out why the formula of the team changing something. 1 week it's in the upper left-hand corner, and if you're scouting at every game, oh, look, this week it's in the right-hand corner. Hey, look at this week. They listen to the guy in the orange hat. Next week, they listen to the guy in the blue hat. I mean, there's reasons that they do it. So look, whatever the advantages or anything else, everybody can have their opinion on there, but there would be a reason that Michigan would go about doing it. I'm not buying that. No, that has got nothing to do with it. That could be an advantage. That's why they would do it.
Well, if it's such an advantage, Denny, then why didn't they change just like the NFL, just like high schools do with technology in the helmet? If it's such an advantage, no. The reason why these coaches don't want electronics in the helmet, they can come up with all their reasons. The reasons why they don't want it is to be able to point something out like this. This is ridiculous, okay? I'm going to do everything in my power to find out what you're going to do, but I'm not going to waste tons and tons of scouting time trying to figure that out when I got to figure out what our team is doing. That's what my job is. I want to figure out what my team is going to do against that team. And you know what, Denny? Hey, I was a football player. I played at the University of Michigan. I remember raising my hand and saying, hey, play's coming right here. The play's coming right here. The whole place knows. Okay? All right? Listen, I agree with Dion. The bottom line is stop it. Everybody knew what we were doing. My high school, everybody knew what we were doing. Stop it. Stop it. Quit being a baby. Quit hiding trying to hide behind vague law rules. And by the way, if it's such a very big advantage, why don't you spell it out big letters in the rule? This is illegal. Why don't they make it a whole rule? Why is it a by rule if it's such a big advantage?
Well, to me, again, I would go back, and it doesn't have to be like the overwhelming advantage in the reason or like the sole reason, but even if it tips you to a play or two, it is somewhat of an advantage. So that's why teams would go about it. But look, there's a lot of I know a lot of Patriot fans. There's a lot of Michigan fans that were Patriot fans because of Tom Brady. Spygate helped them. Deflategate, no matter, you want to talk about PSIs and football and everything else, it helped them. Sometimes it's just the idea and the confidence, that you're doing something, but, it can help. It helped the ass. I mean, like all of these things, so it can.
There's a lot of things that can help, Denny. There's a lot of things that can help. You know what helps? Bigger, faster, stronger football players. That helps a tremendous amount. Maybe we should divide them up. We'll have a draft. How's that? We'll have a draft in college football. There's a lot of things that teams do to give them an advantage.
Well, and to me, with college football, you have to, if you want to, and we know that most, if not
And I'm
all,
not advocating for a college draft. I was just
what
being
I'm saying when it
facetious.
comes down is the way that almost all of the teams that won championships, if we're going to sit here and talk about it, is that I think we all know that the teams have paid money to the players and they have promised money up front. Now, if Michigan doesn't, then Michigan does not look like they go that route. I mean, I feel like I think you probably feel that way too. So you got to fight fire with fire. You got to get out there and find ways to give yourself some kind of advantage. And this could be one of the areas that they went into. So I don't, like I said, I don't care if they went out there because you have to. If you want to win championships, we could sit around and say, no, Michigan's doing it one way and everybody else is doing it the other way. That's fine, and I know there's that ideal, and heck, it's hard, it's sad to think like the other side, but like I don't think Michigan is should be given the death penalty, should be given a postseason ban. I think they should be able to play this season, but they're not going to get out of this unscathed. I'm just looking at it realistically. Jerry, everybody hates the NCAA, but they still have a little bit of power and they got a lot of, whether you think they've got a great evidence or whatever else, they're the judge, they're the jury. They do, they do have an axe to grind with Harbaugh. I don't like that. Jim, who knows how much he might just carry this into that, but I'm not asking for Michigan to get, thrown out of the Big Ten or, their season canceled or anything else. I just think they're going to get hit next year, with some sanctions. That's all.
We'll see. I don't think it's going to happen this year. That's my perspective.
No, I agree with you.
I don't think anything is going to happen this year. And I think there's a lot of
drama. Nothing should happen this year.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing should happen. Well, should and does, you got to look at the leaders.
Let's take some of the feedback, Jerry, that maybe there'll be some people that are making some points here. Tyler is looking towards 2025. Let's see. David is saying Tennessee 200 violations, no postseason because they threatened to sue. I don't know about that. I didn't think that you had the power to sue, David. You might want to look into that. GC's worried about Purdue. Well,
Thank you. I agree with that. We need to start worrying about the teams we're playing. We got a big 4-game stretch here, and that's what we need to focus on. Absolutely. I agree totally with that.
How about all publicity is good publicity from Richard? What do you make of that, Jerry? I had a friend who always claimed that in the media that all publicity was good publicity, and I don't think that's true. But what do you think?
I mean, sometimes it is. That there's a lot of times where news helps people that got bad publicity. So yeah. There's some validity to that.
OT is saying the NCAA is saying it doesn't provide a big on-field advantage. They did say that. That is
I forgot to mention that, and that's a great point, by the way.
It is a great point. They determined that this type of scouting doesn't provide a big on-field advantage. So going through it and finding out if, they find out at what level, that it happened, if it's not that big of an advantage, and it shouldn't be that big of a penalty, I wouldn't think, right? That makes sense to me.
I totally agree with that. I was gonna mention that. I forgot to mention that. My bad. Good job. Who was that again?
That was OT.
OT, great job.
Okay, there you go. How about 3 more? Then we will get to Purdue. And let's see. Mark is saying he's not sure why Ward Manual doesn't have a training program for all employees. It feels like this rule and others should have been trained and tested.
Mark, great point. Absolutely. Every year as a high school coach, I had a preseason meeting with our AD that spelled out what we can and cannot do. And I mean, we went over bus transportation, everything else. So yeah, that's a great point.
People are I'm just reading it off here. People are agreeing with you. They like your passion. Mr. Martini does. John is saying that you're speaking the truth. So is BN. Jerry is right. Michigan could definitely leave the Big Ten. The Big Ten is a business partner like any organization. Michigan has the right to no longer do business with its partner. You were talking about that.
I see the Big Ten has gone against us a number of times. So, let's see where their heart is on this one and their wallet.
All right, two more. John says, I go from a Buckeye chat where they think they're going to get the death penalty to where it's a shrug. I love it. They know they still have to go to Ann Arbor and face an angry Michigan team.
John, I'm going to address that real quick. John, I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. I've talked about it many times on here. I believe in my heart that the true Ohio fan is not happy about this. Not happy that Ohio State is being that the allegations that Ohio State is at the front and center of this thing, pointing the finger at us. I mean, I heard a report that third base hired a outside firm to investigate Michigan. I also heard that third base is doing some of the same things that we're doing. So I totally agree. And I got to believe, I know Ohio fans, they want to win it on the field. They don't want to win it in the court. They want to win it on the field. And then they want to shove it in our face. Okay? I don't think the majority of Ohio fans are real happy that Ohio State has got their name tied to this.
No. And look, as much as I followed, put in quotes, scandals and college football over the year, when it's not your team, everybody's, shouting death penalty and, throw the book at them. But when it's your team, you're all like, there's nothing going on here. Like, let's move on. Everybody's doing it kind of stuff. I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, that's where we're at. So, we know what situation, Michigan is on right now. And so, that's what I expect from, fans in most media. But, as we're all weighing in, I'd like to I'll make my final point on this, Jerry. Then, you can make your point again. We've talked about it now for almost a half hour.
Sure.
I don't think Michigan is going to be affected by it this season. If anything, it's going to, this team, anything like any extra motivation of, us against the world, you're going against our coach, us against the NCAA, other teams are spooked because they think Michigan might have something figured out. I look at that as that's all playing into Michigan's advantage in their, remaining 5 games if they go to the Big Ten championship game, 6 games if they go to the college football play, 7 if they go to the national championship game. I think that part will benefit them. Then in the offseason, like I said, I hope that Michigan is able to keep Jim Harbaugh around. That's a huge thing. Hopefully he doesn't get suspended. But if he stays around, he has to go, whatever, you work through all that. So I'll just say, hopefully they're able to keep Jim Harbaugh. I think they'll be able to weather anything else. And as much as you might say, you sound like you're against, I'm not against Michigan here. I'm just trying to look at, I think they will get dinged a little bit. I just hope it's just dinged. And I think they can weather any of that. If it doesn't affect this season, they're able to keep Jim Harbaugh, I think they'll be fine.
I think it's about time that our administration took a hard stand against these stupid allegations, number one. And number two, I think they had to sign Jim Harbaugh to a long-term contract and end this junk. As far as future allegations, we'll see who's still around.
All right. I like it. Jerry, before I ask you a little bit about the bye week, and there were some questions coming in specific to the team. I want to remind everyone, you like talking about Michigan. You like a situation like this. Well, there's dozens, I would say, of threads on the Maize and Blue Review talking about all of the stuff that Jerry and I were talking about. You like one, you jump in, you want something covered, you make one yourself, all of that, plus recruiting, transfer portal, all of it, all day, all night. Join the Maize and Blue Review today by going to michigan.rivals.com. All right, it is Purdue. They are in action coming up tomorrow. In general, Jerry, what's Michigan trying to do here during the bye week? What do you think Jim Harbaugh is trying to get done?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think he wants to give his kids some rest time. I think he needs to. I think Coach Scarcelli mentioned it earlier. Many years we would lose to Minnesota or Purdue or somebody late in the season because we were tired. We were tired. So I wouldn't doubt that Coach Harbaugh gave the kids a couple days off and just said, "Hey, go rejuvenate, get your schoolwork done, get refreshed a little bit, and come back ready to work." I think Tuesday or Wednesday, he probably started coming back in. Maybe even watch some film Monday on some future opponents. But I never had a bye, Denny. We never had a bye, so I have no idea what's going on. This is what my assumption is. My feeling is they're probably giving the kids some time off and getting some conditioning back in them, get them lifting, get them running, because that's what happens in midway this part of the season. You start losing your strength. The teams that keep their strength are the teams that make the big run at the end. So I think they're getting freshened up. They're working out, getting conditioned, getting their conditioning back, and then probably Wednesday they start hitting a little bit and getting ready for the stretch.
One of the parts about Michigan through these first 8 games and the teams they played, they've been able to dispatch them with relative ease. And a lot of the starters, there's been a lot of players that have played there. And this, I don't know how many, the full 4 quarters, they haven't had to do that. So now they get to freshen up. And so, they've got a 4-game championship season. Purdue, Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. I mean, they should be ready to go for this. How much ramping up they need to do, conditioning, and all of that. I've always heard in the past that the true freshmen, which leads us into this question, during the bye week, they get some extra work in and look that they don't get during the season. Those guys might be on scout team, but they'll get some extra attention coming up this week. Scott asking who has been the best true freshman so far this season. And
how many do we have?
Well, you have the 3 freshman wide receivers in Carmelo England.
Samaj Morgan, I was going to say.
Samaj Morgan might be, he's definitely the candidate to say, one on defense. Has there been a true freshman? The guys late in the game, Cam Brandt on the defensive line. We've seen a lot of DJ Waller, number 13, late in these games.
What number is Brandt?
Brandt is 91.
Yeah, he's. I like that kid. He is a nice player. Yes,
a lot of 91, a lot of 13. Jair Hill, but I would say that I would go with number 12, Samaj Morgan, at 5'10".
He's got some speed, Denny. He's got some killer speed, and you make comparisons all the time, right? And kind of reminds me of Tariq Hill a little bit. He's got that kind of speed. So, he's a slot receiver, and I could see him stretching the field pretty big for us.
Someone compared Roman Wilson to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I like the comparison. And then somebody was saying, hey, how about Amon-Ra St. Brown and Samaj Morgan, 5'10"? The way that the one game where he went through, it looked like he was tackled and was kind of slipping. It reminded me a little bit with Antonio Brown when he was playing with the Steelers.
Yeah, right.
Somebody that can, make guys miss and take off. And, we do like those comps, but, I know for 6 years, Antonio Brown was a great football player.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he had his issues. What other questions you have? GC is like, yes, stuff seems fine. Let's talk football again. That's what we're doing right now.
Is this the young man at General Comedian? Is that the man who said something about we need to start talking about Purdue?
I forget who that was, but
I think that was him, and big thumbs up. I totally agree.
Marcus is talking about Dante Hall. What was his nickname? The Joystick. Mm-hmm. He was a returner from the Kansas City Chiefs. So
Oh, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
not bad. I'm with you on that. And it looks like a lot of people saying Samaj Morgan or DJ Waller. There you go. That's where we're at. I was just looking to see if we get some basketball and some people still talking about the other stuff. So that's the bye week. Yeah, freshen up, be ready to go on Monday, and you get into November. It's that's where the championships are won, Jerry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's play them on the field and see who the best team is.
That's it. Are you ready to talk a little film?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead, Denny. Do your thing.
I just want to thank Quick Cut for the video and analytics. Thanks to Quick Cut with Jerry going through the ones and twos here, and we are now ready with the film on the screen. This is in the first quarter against Michigan State up in East Lansing.
And I picked this play first and foremost because I think it's so important. Number one, this is the quarterback's first and foremost responsibility. Get the ball from center. Denny, a few years ago, we lost the playoff game on this exact same situation. You got defensive linemen. They're doing everything in their power to try to create penetration. Now, I'm not crazy about Nugent on this play, but the bottom line is the quarterback has to secure the football. And this is probably one of JJ's worst plays, and it's not that bad at all because he hands off for a touchdown. But this is the quarterback's first and foremost responsibility. I used to always tell our quarterbacks, listen, the only way it's not the center's fault is if the ball's on the ground. Other than that, you better have that ball secured. And so this is JJ. He's got to secure the ball, and especially down here on the goal line, you better know that snap has got to be secured. Number one. Number two, we're going to take a look at Nugent's first step here. This is not good. I'm not crazy about this. He actually takes a step back. Watch his foot right here, Denny. You see that?
Did the ball not come out clean? Did it go onto the ground?
We're going to get to that in a second. Okay. We're going to get to that in a second. We used to talk about rolling our knee to the ground and stepping with the play side foot or the foot that we're supposed to step with. So we want to roll your knee to the ground a little bit. Roll that right knee, this knee over here. Roll it to the ground and step hard here in the front side. What Nugent does is he actually takes a step backwards, and that's what really causes the penetration here by number 97. Remember, we're on the goal line here. We're on the goal line. We cannot afford mistakes on the goal line, especially moving forward. Nugent steps back, and their nose guard drives him back in the end zone. Fortunately, JJ secures the ball long enough. Now, there's the ball right there, Denny. You see it?
Yep.
You see it? The ball is in his hands. That is JJ right there. JJ must secure the ball. What I don't like is Nugent. He's on his tippy toes here. He's got to drive. He's got to drive off of this knee, roll this knee to the ground, and drive this foot forward. Can't drive.
Why would he be on his toes like that?
What's that?
Why would he be on his toes like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't. I think his first step was just really bad on this play, and he got caught in the air. And you know what, Denny? We used to always talk about this. The man who gets the player who gets his second foot down on the ground fastest is the man who wins the play. Okay, it's short steps and getting that second foot in the ground quick so you can deliver a blow and make some movement. But this is JJ right here. He's got to secure the ball. He does a nice job recovering, and all you got to do is secure the ball. I don't think anybody's going to stop our 1 yard plays anymore. I think we're in pretty good shape here. Okay. Denny, ever play euchre and you play screw the dealer?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's what we did to this linebacker here. Coach Scarcelli wanted me to point this out. He was kind of concerned, why are we pulling this guard? Well, here's the deal. What is this linebacker reading here? What is 27 reading? Is he reading the back? Is he reading the play side guard? Is he reading the backside guard? No matter what he's reading, the play shows run. And what that does is it brings him up. What happens is Barner finds the area right in the middle of the field. He's got leverage on the cornerback. He's inside the cornerback, so he's got leverage inside on the cornerback. And this safety has to respect him and drop out of there if he goes deep. He can't just sit on his heels and wait for the route to develop. So what we're doing here is we're putting this linebacker in total conflict. There he comes up. You see how he's coming up? He's coming up for the run. Oh, shoot. Now it's a pass right behind me. Okay? Now, what I'm pretty impressed with right here is this Michigan State linebacker almost getting back on the ball. That was one heck of a play this kid made. The other big play is, how did JJ know to throw to his back shoulder, throw to Barner's back shoulder? This is an incredible play, both sides right here. Bang. That ball could have been easily intercepted. That ball could have very easily been intercepted. And to be honest with you, there's no way I would think that linebacker would be able to make that play. That's a heck of a job by their linebacker and a phenomenal throw by JJ and a great catch by Barner. Nice job all the way around.
And this, this was one of those games where it seemed like JJ, not only was he feeling it, but he's zipping it in there where you're thinking, wow, man, throwing it by guys' ear holes and, before they turn and out of their breaks and all of that. This was a masterclass by McCarthy.
I think Coach Scarcelli has mentioned over and over again, JJ needs to be healthy. He's the difference. He's the difference. I mean, when you look around the league, when you look around the country, in my opinion, we got the best quarterback in the country. Okay, now, this is JJ being JJ. I don't know how he escapes this. There's no way he should be able to escape this. I'm going to show Michigan running a very similar stunt. And this has become very popular, where they're taking the three technique or the B gap player or whatever you want to call him, and they're driving him into the offensive tackle, taking him out, and that would be your contain guy then. What they're hoping to do is what we do here, and that is Zenner drives the three technique right into Barnhart, okay, which leaves their outside end coming upfield and then underneath, and he's got a clean shot at JJ. Clean shot at JJ. Also, what I want to show here is the inside leverage that Wilson has on this safety. They're actually asking this outside linebacker to cover Roman Wilson one-on-one. I don't think you're going to make a living doing that. But this is JJ being JJ. I can't understand how he got away from here. Thank God he did. What a move. How do you do that? How many people in the country can do this? That's a Division I football player with a clean shot at a quarterback. You can see Zenner. Now, one thing I will say about this play is, and I've seen it a couple times now, we've got to get on the same page with our offensive linemen as far as passing these defenders off. But this is an outstanding play by JJ. And then once you do that, once he gets out, you might as well start up the band because it's probably a big play or a touchdown. Okay, JJ making this play. Once he gets past here, start the band up. Touchdown. Roman Wilson against the linebacker. Are you kidding me? Bang, touchdown. Great play by JJ McCarthy, and that's a play that is Heisman worthy. Great play. There's Nugent having a little fun, I think.
Yeah, the way they've got it going right now, you can't wait for Purdue next Saturday.
No, I know, absolutely. Agreed, Denny. Agreed. All right, now I love this formation because it puts the tight end in a position where you can't get too many hands on him. He can get a free release for a pass. He also can get down on the linebacker without getting squeezed down in. So I love this formation. if you put the back over here, it's really deadly. But I like it over here too. It's a great run formation, great pass formation, and I love this formation. Why I pointed this out is what you're going to see is Blake Corum hitting the ball down north and south. Now, if I'm a coach in the backfield, I'm weighing whether I want to tell him to run more with his eyes open and look for that crease or just run north and south. I mean, either way, it's a great run. But as you see, watch off of Loveland. Watch the hole off of Loveland open up. Boom, right there. You see it? Look at that. There's no way this outside defender is going to make a play on the dive. The reason why he's not going to make the play on the dive is he's too far removed. Look at how far out he is. There's a guard. There's a tackle. There's the tight end or wing, if you want to call him that, and there's a tight end, okay? He's out here on the number 3 receiver. There's no way he's going to make a play on the dive. No way. And then Blake hits it up in there. Now, do I want to tell Blake Corum, if I'm a coach, do I want to tell Blake Corum, hey, look for that opening and hit that out there and then you're one-on-one with this corner out here, or do what he did, 6 of one, half dozen the other. The way we're playing right now, let's take the 6 yards. We can do that all day long against anybody.
Yeah, you think he might have been able to go for a bigger yardage if he kicked it outside, but, he also was smelling that first down marker by grinding it ahead.
That's what I'm saying. That's a, catch-22. Catch-22 right there, Denny. Okay, This is the same blitz or stunt that Michigan State pulled on us, where JJ threw a touchdown. This is a blitz instead of a stunt, a defensive line stunt. That's why I called it stunt blitz. The linebacker here is going to be the one that takes out the tackle. Watch what Michigan does with this stunt. Great play. Goes to the tackle, takes him out. He's got contained.
Ooh.
Comes underneath, makes the play. Great play. That's the difference between our quarterback, their quarterback, our blitz, and their blitz. Okay, let's go to this next one.
Now I see why teams do it so much. You get a free rusher.
Hey, it's very effective. Very effective. You still have contained because the guy going inside the tackle is supposed to get upfield. That way he still has contained, bring the end underneath. Very difficult to defend. Another third down conversion. Denny, did I read this right? I know I looked it up today. Michigan State is second on third down conversion. Going into the game, they were first, were they not?
Yes, they were. Correct.
Okay. Another third down conversion. And remember, these third down conversions have not been 3rd and 1s. A lot of them have been 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and teens. Third down conversion.
Yeah.
6 out of 7, 6-yard average to go. So this is where football games are won and lost, right here on this third down conversion. Now this is a great move by Loveland. I mean, remember, we're talking about a tight end here, and he's going against a DB. This is a defensive back for Michigan State. We're talking about Loveland going against a defensive back. Watch the move Loveland pulls on. Remember, the DB has got inside leverage on that on Loveland. He's got inside leverage, so he knows he can't get beat on the inside. Loveland cannot beat him on the inside. And comes right underneath it. JJ hits him right in stride. Big play. Big third down conversion. 10 yards. Great move by Loveland. I mean, and this is another difference. We have tight ends that threaten DBs. I mean, that's not easy to find. We've got tight ends. I'm not saying a tight end. I'm saying tight ends, 2 of them, that can threaten DBs. So feeling pretty good about our tight end in play right now, blocking and receiving. Okay, this I did this one because I just wanted to point out how well disciplined our football team is, and that is the head coach. That's a look from the head coach. Great discipline, great self-control. First of all, it's a great play. It's a counter tray. We pick up the outside. Zenner logs in. The defensive end who's trying to squeeze the tackle. This defensive end is trying to squeeze this tackle and get under a trap. This linebacker is going to scrape out here because he sees all this blocking down. He can't get out here and make this play, but he sure can make this play out here. So what they're doing is they're saying, you squeeze that tackle. If he blocks down, you squeeze. Come underneath any trap. Linebacker, if you see this, you're scraping out. Well, we got that covered as well. The other thing is, we know they're in man coverage. Look at their man. What are we doing? We're going to take our receiver and take the free safety and almost take two guys. This is what we did to Ohio last year. Is that Johnson? Great job by Johnson. Great job by Zenner. By Barner. Great run by Corum. Head to the face. No retaliation. And I would not want to be a defensive back in this position. That was not a very smart play. He could have gotten hurt. He could have gotten done some bad things too. He could have had some bad things done to him. But great self-control, great discipline. I love this team look from us. This is great. Guys are over there making sure everything's secured. And this little DB doesn't want Blake Corum to do too much more because Blake Corum kind of walks over him after the stupid call, after the stupid play.
Right.
So, all right. Now, okay, Denny. I saw this play a number of years back at the high school level here on the west side of the state. And I'm not lying. It's a great play because really the defense has a hard time being in the right position. If they're doing it like we've done it, this is a read. They are reading the C-gap player, the outside man. If the outside man comes up on the jet sweep, when Morgan comes around, if the defensive end comes up on the jet sweep, we've got a counter going the other way with the quarterback. And this is very difficult to defend because what you're going to see is watch Barner come out on the linebacker. Who's this running back? Is that Hall? I think that's Hall. He ends up over here. He ends up being a lead blocker for this linebacker over here. So we've got jet sweep on this side, but yet we have counter over this side. And that is a bear to defend. Watch what happens. Our left guard and tackle pull for the counter. Or, excuse me, my bad. I forgot. That was a center. I remember that. The center pulled. The backside tackle pulled. If it isn't for this one linebacker inside, OG could be gone. But that is a bear of a play. Look at the jet sweep out here. If that tackle goes down, now if this defensive end goes down with this offensive tackle, if he squeezes down, now you give the jet out this way and you have two lead blockers. Everybody imagine this defensive end squeezing down on this tackle, following this tackle in his hip pocket. That play can go either way. It's a bear of a play to defend. We used to love running this. Our kids used to love running this play. And we hurt people a lot for a lot of yards on that play right there. We used to call it a counter because that's what it was. But it's also a outside zone on the opposite side. This play could easily be an outside zone. Look at the room. Look at the room Samaj Morgan has if he does get the ball.
It was going to work either way, wasn't it?
It's working either way. That's the design of the play, Denny. That is the design of the play right there. It's counter one way, jet sweep on the other, that defensive end is going to tell the quarterback what to do. If he comes upfield and takes a jet sweep, you got the counter back the other way. If he squeezes down on the tackle and follows the tackle, gets in his back pocket, like people say, and we give the ball on the jet sweep, and now you got two lead blockers in front of him. Bear of a play. That's a very, very good football play. And you remember, I think it was Minnesota. No, Nebraska ran it against Minnesota and got big yards on it. And I think it could be a very, very big play down the stretch for Michigan. All right, this is just a quarterback power. I love this formation again because what we're doing here is we're extending this outside edge player. Now all we're going to do is we're going to just block down. We have a lead blocker with our back who's going to kind of J block. He's going to come into the line and then kick out. We got the backside guard pulling around and touchdown. I'd like a little bit better job by our tight end, number 40 there, who's a senior. But that's a great play. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is a team. This is a team. We're 49 up, and our guys are going crazy like we just scored a go-ahead touchdown. This is beautiful. That's all I got, Denny.
It was pretty good. I liked it. Well, Jerry, yeah, like, going back to the first thing with the NCAA, that it would have been nice if it happened on Sunday where all of it came out and then you just dealt with it the whole bye week. It actually, it gave you something to do, even though you didn't like it, looking at all this stuff. It didn't affect Michigan on Saturday night, but I think people are already a little worn out, with all the advanced scouting talk, and I think by Saturday you can just get back in there and think about football. Not tomorrow, Saturday, by next Saturday, where you can just think about, hey, Purdue at Penn State, at Maryland, and then against Ohio State.
I hope I gave some perspective to our audience to let them know the chances of anything happening this year are slim and none, and Slim's leaving.
Yep. No, you made that clear. I think that the people can feel good about that.
And the big thing is, let's just concentrate on the field. Let's concentrate on what we're supposed to do on the field. Let's take care of business in Ann Arbor against Purdue, and then make the stretch run. And we'll see what they do when they come to Ann Arbor.
There you go, Jerry. We look forward to talking with you next week. Have a great bye week.
Hey, I will, Denny. Great being with you.
All right. That's it. Well.